Chairman, or acting chair. I want to just really commend all of you for the work you do. It's extremely important. Back in the 90s, when I was at the Department of Interior, we started working on the Everglades program. Not there yet. Working on the Chesapeake program. Not there yet. San Francisco Bay, and on and on. The NEP is extremely important. The support of the federal government is critical here. Much of this started with the Clean Water Act, foundational. And some states were ahead of it. Other states followed along after the Clean Water Act went in place, providing the foundational law for cleaning up our estuaries and our rivers. And we got more to do. I noticed that this particular NEP expires on 2021. I would hope that we have a reauthorization effort this year so that by the end of 20, we're ready to go. And I suspect all of you support that. You can nod your heads yes. I noticed you all nodding. There's more to do. The role of the federal government here is critically important. It provides the foundation. It also provides support in many, many different ways, not just with the small amount of funding in the estuary program, but with all of the other programs. I think it was, I forget which one of you were talking about the length of time that it takes. Mr. Ford, I believe you were the one talking about the length of time it takes to get a project underway. And you want to claim credit for that comment, Mr. Pine? That's fine. But it does take forever, and the coordination between the various agencies is really something we need to work on here, and to pull that together. I would really appreciate your specific suggestions on how that might be done. So let's run quickly through right to left, my right to your left. That'd be you, Mr. Ford, first. Thank you for the work you've done on Santa Monica Bay. Thank you, sir. Been involved in that for more than 40 years myself, so let's go.
All right.
How do we coordinate? What do we need to do?
Yeah, so I think what we're able to provide now, and arguably with continued support, would be able to continue to provide it and increase it, which is simply that we get folks working together on the ground early so that when these projects manifest, they're not a surprise. I've certainly heard from various leadership in the state of California or here in the district of trying to figure out how to help streamline and fast track some of these programs that have these environmental benefits because we need them and we need them now. So I think there's plenty of opportunity to explore it.
Early on. Let's get together early.
Thank you for this great question. I think we have a lot of great work that goes on, and it's continuous. As I've mentioned, we've been around for 30 years, and a lot of the decisions that we make is driven by the data that we have collected continuously for 30 years. And so it's really important for us to maintain that continuous data set to drive smart decisions. And so to keep this program going and to ensure that that funding continues, on a regular basis would really help us to continue that science-driven work.
On the Chesapeake, there's something called the Executive Council, which meets annually. The governors of all 6 states, the mayor of the District of Columbia, and the federal lead agency, EPA, bringing the leadership together to discuss and decide and plan how to move forward new projects, I think has been critical for us, and I would suggest it's a good model.
The National Estuary Program requires us to pull together the federal government, the state government, local government, tribes, the agricultural community, environmental community, business community. We do that now in all 28.
You're doing, excuse me, I'm going to interrupt. We're almost out of time here. You're doing it. Do we need to go into the various federal agencies that are involved, Corps of Engineers, EPA, so forth, and require them to coordinate with the local agencies?
It's a great question, and actually in Puget Sound, so Congressman Heck and Kilmer have introduced HR 2247, the Puget SOS Act, which would require the creation of a federal task force and a program office at EPA, and that would help coordinate, bring them together, hold them accountable, require all the federal agencies to work together to create their own action plan, working with us.
Congressman Garamendi, in the Bay Area, we have taken this challenge on in earnest in creating what we've called the Bay Restoration Regulatory Integration Team, where we're requiring in helping to fund the regulators to look at our applications in a more comprehensive and collaborative way. And we've put in place
I'm out of
timelines.
time, so excuse me for interrupting. The question is really one directed to the federal government and to a federal law or requirement that the federal agencies must coordinate and come together early on in an issue, whatever that issue might be. And I'd like to hear from all of you with a little memo following up on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Garamendi.